I think that HBAR is amazing. And why is that? It's because reaching the price of $3 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, even though nothing I say is financial advice nor a guarantee. But when it comes to Hedera, oftentimes people overlook its use cases, but I'm not, because something that I think could be so amazing for its future is its use case for data integrity and AI. And I more specifically do want to focus on the AI aspect of this because I think AI could very well be the next big thing. I mean, you got to think about this, right? Even though it's already massive, it could be even bigger in the future, in my opinion. For instance, according to Grandview Research, the AI market is predicted to be worth nearly $2 trillion by 2030. So that's crazy right there. This is bigger than some countries' GDP. Not to mention, you take a look at the GDP of Canada back in 2022. That was around $2 trillion. So this is a very insane figure. Now, could this very well be, an underestimation, so to speak? I think so. The future could be a lot better. We don't know, but it's not even that far away. We're so close to 2025. So like 2030, it's just very close in my opinion. So I like that when it comes to Hedera. Not to mention something else that Hedera has a use case for, something called real world asset tokenization. Now this right here, I think could be so massive because oftentimes people don't focus on this, but I think this could be huge. Because if we take a look at it, for instance, right, what is a real world asset token, for instance, like what is a RWA, right? They are digital representations of physical assets on the blockchain. And I think this could be so massive because, for instance, right, we take a look at assets can range from real estate, commodities, and art, and even into some cases, right, financial instruments like bonds and stocks. So that's a total game changer right there. When you take a look at Hedera, they're even focused on this too. Now, is Hedera the only thing out there that's focused on this? No, but it doesn't matter in my opinion because when I take a look at Hedera, it basically has no comparable competitors when it comes to its fundamentals. Because if we take a look at this, right, many projects out there that are focused on this, they're not a DAG, Hedera Hashgraph, right? It's a directed acyclic graph. It doesn't utilize traditional blockchain technology. So that's the advantage. This is much better than traditional blockchain technology, by the way, in my opinion, because typically it consumes way less energy. And just to showcase this, right, Hedera per transaction on average consumes less energy, allegedly, than Solana. You take a look at Ethereum, BNB Chain, and of course, many others. So that right there is just very impressive. Not to mention, it has improved data storage. It's usually a lot more scalable. For instance, Hedera's native services can reliably scale up to 10,000 transactions per second and even beyond. Now, some people out there, they may think that, take a look at Hedera's transactions per second. It's looking so caca as of right now. Well, here's the thing. Statistics, they can change in a very volatile way in the short term. But if you think about it, even despite that, Hedera has the capabilities to be amazing. So when people say that, the transactions per second is so low, well, okay, who really cares about that in the short term, in my opinion? Because if anything, Hedera has the capabilities to be amazing. The way I think about it is this. For instance, right, when we take a look at like an Aston Martin, for instance, can that do over like 150 miles per hour? Depending on the model, yeah. But then does it mean that it always needs to be that much? No, I mean, that's reserved for like the racetrack or something like that, right? When you're just driving on the street, you're not going to do that. But at least it has the capabilities to, let's say we bring it to a racetrack, for instance. So when you take a look at Hedera, when people complain about the transactions per second, yeah, sure. Maybe the Aston Martin isn't going, 150 miles per hour. Maybe it's just going to the bookstore. It's driving like 10, 20 miles per hour, just cruising, just having, a slow ride. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't have the capabilities to be amazing. It's like this, it's like Hedera. That's the way to take a look at it. Maybe activity isn't the greatest out there, but at least it has the capabilities to support a lot of activity if it were to see it in the future. So I think that's good news nonetheless. So yeah, again, when it comes to Hedera, I think it's very amazing. Now, I'm going to harp back to my previous point. Many projects out there are focused on real-world asset tokenization. But when it comes to Hedera, being focused on that right there, I think is a total game changer because I think it's just much better than the majority of the competition. And there's pretty much nothing like Hedera. So I think it's very amazing in its own right. Not to mention, Hedera is also focused on the payments market. Now, the payments market, as of right now, is currently valued at over $2 trillion. That's amazing. Now, am I saying that Hedera is going to be like the world leader in terms of this? I don't think so. But again, if you take a look at their governing council, they have the backing, they have the connections to make stuff happen. You got to think about their governing council includes Boeing, like the aviation company, right? You take a look at, for instance, Mondelez. Their brands include Oreo and as well as Cliff, like the Cliff Bar. Also on top of that, it includes LG, Ubisoft. You take a look at Dell Technologies, Google, right? I mean, this is so amazing. When you take a look at Hedera, it's one of a kind. Governing Council's A+, use case is amazing, and it's not caca whatsoever. Not to mention, you take a look at Hedera also has solutions for stablecoins. Now, some people like to complain that, there's too many stablecoins, but I think it's only fair to assume that as more and more, projects do pop up, also on top of that, as the adoption for blockchain technology increases and also the attention for just cryptocurrencies in general, I think it's only fair to assume that more stablecoins are going to pop up, right? So, of course, these stablecoins, why not choose Hedera? I think it's amazing. I think it's much better than the majority of the competition. So when you think about that, Hedera, man, its future is so bright. Now, mass scale institutional adoption, in my opinion, doesn't need to happen to Hedera in the next 6 months to a year, because we've seen time and time again cryptocurrencies that don't really do anything. They still pump anyways. So I totally understand that. It's going to take time, but I think if anything, this is a good sign because it showcases that Hedera is a serious project. It's going to be run for multiple decades and even a lot more, in my opinion, because it's not going to be something that's going to disappear when the fans are gone. You know what I mean? I think it's still going to do well during a bull run, when it comes to HBAR. However, I do believe that Hedera, it has a good long-term future because the use case is amazing. I love its technology, not to mention it's Governing Council's A+. So when I take all of that into consideration, I think in the very long term, HBAR is going to do amazing. But in the next 6 months to a year, at the price of $3, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever, especially when I consider how amazing Hedera is. Not to mention, you take a look at during this bull run, there's so many bullish factors, over 600 million crypto owners, right? The number of institutional investors, the amount of enterprise adoption, the Bitcoin ETF, the Ethereum ETF. This could be so amazing when it comes to just this whole space overall. As the old saying goes, a high tide raises all ships. I think if the altcoin season is in fully fifth gear, I think HBAR is going to join that ride. And we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen Cardano's native token called ADA break a new all-time high. We haven't seen Ethereum at the price of $10,000. We haven't even seen Bitcoin at the price of $100,000, let alone $150,000. This bull run, I think, is far from over, and it's not like $3 is that bad anyways, right? We've seen, BNB reach over $100 billion in market cap, and that's complete caca, hypothetically, in my opinion. Now, you take a look at HBAR again at the price of $3, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $113 billion, which I think, again, is not too bad, especially when you consider how BNB reached, over $100 billion in the past. Not to mention, you take a look at HBAR, right? At that price, it's around a 23x from here. It's not too bad. Now, some people like to say that, it's not the best, but hey, if they were believing in HBAR when I was starting to talk about it, this, was a figure that was actually a lot more, right? At that time, when I was saying that HBAR was going to go to the price of $3, everyone was saying it's caca, all this. Now, they're saying, hey, $5, $10, but I'm sticking with $3. Again, in the past, reaching $3 was not around a 23x. It was like a lot more than that, but now because the price pumped, much like I predicted, by the way, hypothetically, again, it is around a 23x from here, but I still don't think it's that bad anyways, because anything over a 10x, I think, is pretty impressive. And again, when a bull run could be this amazing, all I got to do is just stay patient, continue to dollar cost average into HBAR, accumulate anytime an income hold, and just wait, because again, at the price of $3 during this bull run, that right there wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. I think this bull run could be that amazing, and I think HBAR, man, I'm really bullish on it. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.